The first light of dawn breaks, casting a silvery sheen across the waves of the Atlantic. And as the sun comes out of its hiding place, the sleepy village of Ikegu slowly awakens to another day. Nestled within a cluster of palm trees, this small riverine community happens to be just one of many along the lengthy Lagos State coastline and consists of small-scale fishermen whose lives revolve around the nearby waters, from where they eke out a daily living. Built in close proximity with one another, the homes of the indigents reflect a very communal type of life, with storage barns also forming part of the homesteads, built specifically for the preservation of seafood, with special emphasis on the drying of fish and shrimps, the two major sources of livelihood for the locals. Their day begins from the early hours of the morning, when the locals from the village congregate by the sides of the shores, busily preparing their fishing nets ahead of the day's sojourn into the deepest parts of the waters, from where the biggest catch is said to thrive. This deep-sea fishing usually takes a whole day, and as evening time approaches, the beachside gradually becomes filled with entire families who while away time on the sands, alongside wholesale buyers from as far away as Lagos, Osun State and Onitsha, as they wait expectantly for the boats to return. The berthing of the boat is a communal affair that involves all the available men on the beach. They have devised a rhythmic method of coaxing the dead weight of the boat up the sands onto higher ground. The shrimps find a ready market right from the boat, where the best of the catch is selected for immediate sales. The rest of the shrimps is taken back to the homesteads, where the preservation process begins. As the evening tide rises, the boats with the bigger catch begin their return journey to the shores. Without the right-sized boats and appropriate fishing equipment necessary to take the men further into the sea, They must depend on the fickle tide to bring the larger fish towards more accessible waters, where they can be easily caught.
Because there's no jetty for the big ships to land here, so they now decide, okay, fine, if that is the case, let's live with this small canoe. And even with the small canoe, they still have a lot of problems. The first thing is, to even run one now, to prepare one, at least you have an average of about 2 million naira. Because an outboard engine is around 1 million naira, or 1 million plus. And you buy net, you buy your canoe with your paddle and all that.
The winds have been kind today, and the catch of croaker is quite sizable compared with the usual. The owner of the boat, Mr. Maruf Kazim, is grateful for his day's earnings. His regular buyer, who commutes 3 times a week from the neighboring region of Ekpe to Ikegu village, has been waiting patiently on the beach for his return. Once the weight of the fish is determined, the familiar process of haggling for a fair price begins. Great lumps of ice are placed on the fish in order to keep them fresh, ahead of the return journey to the next town for retail selling at the bigger market. For Maruf, the day's fishing is over, and pleased with the transaction, he calls it a day. He happens to be one of the more privileged fishermen and owns a slightly more modern building in an upgraded section of the village. He says he has been engaging in the fishing business for the better part of 25 years and started very young with skills that were inborn.
And then the engine bash the engine titun ni engine yẹn bí tó bá wù mí ni mo lè lọ láti la pẹja dé nínú òkun ẹja oríṣiríṣi, so mo need the help látọwọ́ wọn.
Today, Maruf has a large family of 10 children and 4 wives, all of whom help out daily in one way or another at the beach. Although fishing remains his first love and is certainly closest to his heart, Maruf has found it necessary to take up part-time employment as a security guard at a nearby school in order to make ends meet and augment the daily income he makes from fishing. A situation he says should not be necessary given the endless source of wealth that lies beneath the waters, just a stone's throw away. But then comes a ray of hope for countless Africans just like Maruf across the continent who engage in one small-scale enterprise or the other with no recourse to the much-needed funds to help their business grow, and who only need a hand up and not handouts to become accomplished entrepreneurs in their own right, capable of impacting significantly towards their country's economic growth and development. few meters down the beachfront from Ikegun village, within the tropical confines of La Campagne Tropicana Beach Resort, a brand new initiative was born on Monday, the 22nd of August, 2011. It was christened the Business Bridge Project, a program that seeks to provide a link between Africans on the continent and people of African descent in the diasporas for the establishment of mutually beneficial business partnerships.
The idea of the BB project is where an African or lovers of Africa from anywhere in the world can invest in the continent without really leaving their immediate environment. A boat like this will go and come back in a day and make about $3,000 to $5,000 US in fish, in crayfish, in lobster. But a lot of these locals do not have enough resources to start it. So what we are doing is that we are linking an American or a Brazilian investor with them. So they do the work. The investor will do the investment. Then we have a bank in the middle.
It began with a practical demonstration of how indigents of the neighboring fishing community prepare their nets for the day's fishing, while a group of spectators looked on, including distinguished Black Americans from the World Council of Mayors.
And so we bring forth this vision today of building bridges from the Atlantic in America to the Atlantic in the shores of Nigeria. And we bless every soul that shall trod on this boat.
The replica canoe was then taken for a quick spin around the lake in a classic representation of the very first Business Bridge Partnership.
I today was able to start that program and be the first one to help launch it and invest into Nigeria. But it's not just for Nigeria, but it's investment in the continent. So it doesn't have to be just in Nigeria. It could be anywhere within the 55 countries within the continent of Africa. And what we're hoping to do is get other people abroad who have the means in order to invest. Ultimately, we all looking to make some money, but if we can just make back what we invested, then we know that we were able to give back to the country to help someone else, you know, whether it's a small business entrepreneur. Like today, we're investing in a fishing boat, which will keep them employed and be able to provide for their families. So being able to invest through the Bridge program will also be able to invest in the community and invest into our people.
This is such an auspicious occasion for us to come to Nigeria so that we can be a part of the Building Bridge and Business program. As children of the diaspora, we all have our roots here in Africa, and so it's important at this time for us to begin to create a generational legacy by which our children and our children's children can carry forth with pride our history and traditions that were given to us by our foreparents who came off of the motherland.
The Business Bridge Project happens to be the brainchild of the Ambassador of Tourism for Africa, Dr. Wanle Akimboboye, a designation conferred on him by the World Council of Mayors in furtherance of their quest to develop the African continent through tourism. This reconnecting of the mayors with their roots was taken a step further when each one of them was asked to kneel in shallow waters before an aged indigene of the area, who, in accordance with custom and tradition, renamed each of the brethren using the water of the soil from whence they originally came.
Omonrele, the child is going back home. Anu Oluwa Po. The mercy of the Lord is unlimited. The name? Baba gives her Anike. Anike.
Anike.
Anike. Anike means somebody you give birth to and you cherish and you help me. You treasure, somebody of treasure. Bring the bowl.
The sea had never looked more picturesque than it did that day, fringed with its white frothy lace and painted a deep turquoise blue. The arrival of the U.S. delegation of black mayors into Nigeria on the 20th of August 2011 signaled the coming to life of a long-held vision that one day every African country on the continent will become self-sustained and empowered through the benefits that go hand in hand with tourism. Led by the mayor of District Heights in Maryland, Mr. James Walls, they were warmly received by their host, the Ambassador of Tourism for Africa, Dr. Wanle Akimboboye, who spiced up their arrival experience with a touch of African charm.
Mayor Walls, Vice President.
Once settled in, the mayors began the process of getting acquainted with their new environment. The night entertainment by the hotel pool was ushered in by a flawless performance by Onikoko, which featured the beating of pots to produce a muffled rhythm which spelt welcome to the special guests.
I think it's very important that we welcome our brothers and sisters in the diaspora and lovers of Africa back to Africa. I am very pleased, I'm happy that they came to Africa, to Nigeria to be precise. It's very important that we promote tourism in Africa.
The visit here is for us to launch a new part of our Motherland Beckons, which is we've gone into partnership with the World Conference of Mayors in building, like I said, the tourism throughout Africa.
The following day sees the team on a courtesy visit to the palace of the Oba of Lagos, where they are personally received by the traditional ruler himself, followed by lengthy introductions aimed at acquainting the Oba with his august visitors, while filling him in with some background information on each one of them.
The World Conference of Mayors is made up of 22,000 mayors worldwide that are part of this conference of making sure that they work together.
The Oba was in a magnanimous mood and afforded the delegates a brief tour around various sections of the palace, most of which are usually closed to the public. Out in the courtyard, the infectious drumbeats of traditional praise singers heralded their exit from the palace, and each member of the visiting team got caught up in the colorful world of Yoruba adages and songs. The familiarization tour afforded the team a brief stopover at the Lekki Free Trade Zone, situated about an hour's drive from the city, where their host extolled the immense investment possibilities that lie inherent within this piece of land.
Chinese companies that are there, 1 or 2 American companies are there.
The arrival of the mayors at La Campagne Tropicana Beach Resort in Ikegu marked the end of the afternoon's activities. Exhausted and visibly relieved from the rigor of the day's tour, they made their way through the whispering palms towards the shores and the salty sea breezes.
It has been so wonderful. This is my first time to Nigeria, not on the continent of Africa, but here in Nigeria, and I think that this is becoming one of my favorite places.
So far, Nigeria has been a reward just to be here. As an African-American male, I think it's very important to come back and see where our heritage is from, and coming to Nigeria has been a rewarding experience that I will never forget.